Shannon, thank you. Joining us tonight is Delaware Senator Sen Coons, member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, thanks for being here.
Great to be on with you again, Brett.
Senator, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi just leaving Taiwan this week. The fallout from that still being felt as China reacts to it. Do you think it was a good idea?
She's just one of many American elected leaders in Congress over decades to visit Taiwan. She's not the first Speaker of the House of Representatives to visit. It did escalate tensions with China, but one of the things I've emphasized, and so have many others, is that our one China policy has not changed, and the core commitments made in the Taiwan Relations Act have not changed.
You know, your former colleague, former Montana Democratic Senator and Ambassador to China, Max Baucus, had this to say about the trip, a little more pointed.
The real question is, how far will they go in showing their displeasure with the Pelosi visit? But she didn't have to go. Taiwan knows we support Taiwan. That was on issue. She just wanted to go on her own because it's kind of fun to go on those things. We should not have gone. So China will take action. It'll be very measured, but it'll be very significant, and it's going to cause a deeper rift in the relationship.
I guess the question is, was it a mistake now looking at it, and will it have implications for the U.S.-China relationship?
That's a legitimate concern for folks like the former ambassador, my former colleague here, to raise. But we also have to push back on the idea that the Chinese government can tell us when and whether Americans ought to travel to different parts of the world.
Senator, let me talk to you about Afghanistan. After the killing of Ayman al-Zawahiri, the al-Qaeda leader, just in Kabul, in a posh neighborhood on the outskirts of Kabul. This is what you said after the U.S. withdrawal that was criticized by both sides in Afghanistan. Take a listen.
This war in Afghanistan was not a wasted effort, as some have been saying. Over 20 years, our brave troops and our allied partners decimated al-Qaeda and the Afghan branch of the Islamic State.
How do you respond to that?
What I was trying to recognize there was that 2 decades of military effort had made the American people safer, and that round after round of attacks on the leaders of ISIS and of al-Qaeda had successfully depressed their ability to carry out attacks against Americans and the American people. And I think this latest example of where our armed forces, where our intelligence community in particular, was able to identify, to target, and to kill one of the closest associates of Osama bin Laden.
But part of the deal with the Taliban was that they were not going to continue their relationship with al-Qaeda. Clearly, that relationship is not only continuing but flourishing if the leader felt comfortable enough to be in Kabul, the capital city. So you wonder how many more al-Qaeda members or ISIS members or other terrorists are there using it possibly as a lily pad to start up attacks again.
Well, to be clear, Brett, that deal struck by President Trump with the leaders of the Taliban is not something the Taliban were respecting or observing before President Biden became president or today. I would agree with you that it is a constant source of concern, legitimate concern for our intelligence community, for our armed forces, whether there are al-Qaeda or ISIS operatives in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, in Africa, in other countries throughout the world. And we need to continue to take steps to ensure that no country becomes a safe haven.
Last thing, quickly, the reconciliation bill. Have you talked to Senator Sinema? Do you know where this thing stands?
I have spoken to Senator Sinema briefly, just to say that it's my hope that positions she's taken before she'll continue with. I think this bill, as it's currently understood, as it's being submitted for us to vote on later this week, will reduce the deficit by $300 billion, will reduce prescription drug costs and healthcare costs for millions and millions of Americans.
Even though there are groups, including groups that have been cited by you all on the Democratic side, who say there will be a tax burden on nearly every income category, including under $400,000.
Well, that's not something that I would agree is a part of this bill. In fact, the bill was specifically designed so there will not be tax increases on Americans earning below $400,000.
You say and this joint tax group that's saying that there will be taxes below $400,000 is just wrong.
The Tax Policy Center says that, yes.
What the bill does is it takes savings from increasing 87,000 IRS agents to increase audits to get more money in, and and it also puts savings, its own number on savings for prescription drugs, and then carries that into the tax situation. That's how it balances it out. That's what I read of this.
That's right. It increases tax enforcement so that those companies, those Americans who owe taxes but avoid paying them, have to pay their fair share. Those of us who do pay our taxes year in and year out would like to see more effective, more professional tax enforcement, and the significant additional revenue from reducing prescription drug prices, negotiating prescription drugs.
Well, we'll see who's right. All these different organizations looking at this. Senator, we really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Bret.